Good afternoon, Flosstube. It's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I want to welcome everyone to my channel today. I'm very glad that you stopped by to visit. I've got several things to share with you today. I have some progress on some pieces I've been working on, a couple of finishes, and some really exciting, for me, junking haul, and I hope you enjoy seeing it too. So this month has been a whirlwind of a month. It's Sampler September. I've gotten very little stitching done. I've had a couple of work conferences on the weekends, and one of them put me close to a needlework shop, so I have a little bit of a haul from that. And things just have not worked out with my stitching like I thought that they would. Even this weekend here is Sunday, not Saturday when I usually film, and my husband and I went away for an evening, stayed in the North Georgia mountains, which we love it there, and I took my stitching along and didn't even get any road trip stitching. Like I said, just a really busy month. I'm hoping I get to stitch a little bit more in October, but I want to share with you what I have finished. If you follow me on Instagram, which is I'll say it right in a minute, it's just Mischievous Stitches on Instagram, you may see a couple of the things I've worked on this month and a couple of the small things I have finished. Let me pull those out and share them with you. So this is just a little kit from Hobby Lobby. And I love it, and I've went back and forth about how I want to finish. I'm moving around because I've had to pull the curtains there because the evening sun is shining through, and it's hitting in just certain places, as you can see. But anyway, back to this. It's just a little kit. This is a wooden blank that comes along with the kit and the threads. Now the threads are not DMC. They look to maybe have some rayon in them. They're a little shinier than the DMC, a little silkier, but they were not bad to work with. What was bad for me is it was more threads. I think it was 3 threads per length that you pull the stitch with, and it was pulling that needle through the back to tie things off. I think I did pretty good. It still looks relatively neat, but by the end of stitching it, I thought, I'm gonna cover that up when I finish it anyway. So I began to put a little less effort into it. And I do plan to put a piece of red felt on the back and probably use double-sided stitchery tape. I will list the stitchery tape down below because every time I mention it, someone will ask what it is, and it is just a double-sided tape, and I will put a piece over the back here and then the felt over that and then cut it out so that it holds that felt there. And I do have a finishing idea I will share with you hopefully next weekend or the following when I finish it up completely. And I did buy another kit because I have an idea to finish up another one for a gift, and this is what it looks like. So if you're just on the DMC cross stitch aisle at Hobby Lobby, this is it, and you see it's the price there that I paid for it. I would assume it's the same in every store. And everything that comes in with it, I think this one shows that a needle threader's in there, this one. I didn't have a needle threader in my other. Maybe that's what I needed, but there wasn't one in my kit. That's the back, this is it. And while I was there, there's several small ones. These were the only ones, I think there's a total of 3 that actually have the wooden blanks. There's some that's on the plastic canvas, which I'm not interested in, but I did pick up this one, just a patriotic one. The only difference between the two is where the holes for the finishing are. And this one has one on the both top left and right corners of the actual flag. And this one does not show that a needle threader is in, just the threads, no needle, and the blank. So there's that, and I thought I would share it. But I love the colors in this. I love how it turned out. And as I said, I already have a finishing idea. It took me a little bit to come up with it, and hopefully I can make the idea that's in my mind, I can bring it to life and share it with you. So there's that. I did start a small sampler a day or 2 into Sampler September, and it is Heart and Hands Round Red Sampler. Now this was one, when it was released, there's also a heartware bowl that goes with it. I purchased this earlier in the year, and I've been excited to start it, and I just hadn't. And I wanted to show you how it's packed. So it's in this cute little box, and you open it up, and there's a small card with just the designer's name and her information, her website, and her email address on the back, which I think is so sweet. And it's just packaged so well. So you pull the paper out and there's the bowl, and it's sitting on a cushion of just paper, and it has her emblem there on the bottom of the bowl. And I chose a different color. I think the pattern calls for, it's a variegated floss, and it calls for cherry cobbler. And when I pulled the cherry cobbler at the store I was at, it was a little too red for me. I like mine a little darker. So I pulled this one, which is mulberry, which is very similar to the bowl. You can't see it as well with that light shining on it, but very similar to the bowl. And then I started stitching, and I put in a few letters, and I thought, I want a little more red in that. So I'm currently working on a piece that calls for 817. Was it 817 or was it this other? No, it was this one. It was 3777, which is an orangey red, which is similar but just a little more red than mulberry. And so to compromise, I pulled a thread of each one thread of 3777, one thread of mulberry, and stitched and finished this piece. And I do apologize for not ironing them, but I didn't take the time to iron anything today, but I have it finished up. I finished it up a couple of weeks ago. And I think with the light shining on it, it looks a little more red than it is, but I think it'll look well with the bowl. And I'm very happy with it. So this is another thing that shouldn't take but a few hours to finish up, and I hope to finish it up and share it with you in the next couple of weekends. I've learned better than to say from doing these videos than to say next weekend, because it's like I tell myself I have to do something and then I war against myself to get it done. And I didn't want to do that, so I'm saying the next couple of weekends. And I also made a start on this piece, which is a stitch along with a friend, and this is the Squirrel Bristol sampler. My copy is in black and white. And I got one more letter done in that, I think from the last time or two. I finished up the third and got a good bit of the fourth one done. I think I've got, actually I finished the fourth one because I started on the fifth. So this is where I am, and it's gonna be a huge sampler. Many of you said that you're journeying along on this piece as well. You started it, and it is a commitment, and so there you go. There's this one for me, and what was the color I chose? Give me just a second to dig in my stitch bag. I think it was 817. I'm correct. It is 817 that I'm using, which is a bright true red. And on this fabric, which is a Atomic Ranch fabric dune, and it is a 36 count, it shows a little more pinky than it does here in the red, if you notice. And I am stitching with one strand, and then there's that. So this one I know that I will carry into next year, but I'm trying to get a letter done here or there. And earlier in the month, let me put this away so I won't try to talk about it again. Earlier in the month, I had a training in our state capital of Columbia for work, and there in Lexington, which is very nearby, there is a newer shop called Stitching, missing the G, Stitchin' Kitten, that's right, Stitchin' Kitten. I'll link them down below. So they're in Lexington, South Carolina, and on the way back from the training, I had enough time before they closed to drop by, and I picked up a couple of things there. So I picked up another of the Satsuma Streets that I love so much to do. They're perfect for car stitching. So you have the needle, the finishing cord if you want to use it as an ornament, all the threads, and any beads. If you can see, there's beads in this one and a few sequins. And I love these Halloween ones. And they are going to be a little large, but I did see something interesting. If any of you shop at the Dollar Tree stores, they have a Halloween tree in there for $1.25. That's what it is. It's not $1 anymore, it's $1.25. But the limbs are black and orange. So I got one because this is the third, I believe, of these that I've gotten. I want to start this one very soon. And I have an idea to even go over the edges, the limbs of that tree with felt. I need to again, try to visualize better what it is I want to do so that I can go about it smart. But with that being said, if you like Halloween and you have ornaments like this or similar ones that are Halloween, even the Prairie Schooler, go take a look at your local Dollar Tree and grab one of those trees. I have it upstairs. I should have brought it down here so you could see it. Maybe I'll make a note to do that next weekend so you can see it. And they also have blue, green, and orange battery operated lights as well, and electric ones as well. So you may want to take a look at that. In addition to that piece, I picked up the newest Wee Santa from Heart and Hand, and they do have some remnant pieces at Stitchin' Kitten, and I like digging through those when I'm there just for ornaments. So I picked up this piece of Boone Jobelin. So the color is, I'm sorry, I said Boone. Bone. The color is Bone, and it's a 28 count Jobelin, and I'm gonna stitch him on it. I have not pulled his threads yet. I can't wait to see how they look in person on the fabric. But I did stitch this one from last year, earlier in the year, and he was so cute and just so much fun to stitch. And then I'm online and I see my friends at Barefoot Needleart, Amy and Memory. One of them had posted, this is a new design on their shop site. And I just love this. So you've got a pirate snowman and a pirate ship. So I ordered this, and I will be down there with them at the first of the month for a retreat, the first weekend in October. And I'm hoping, I know that Amy had a piece of fabric picked out for hers. I may see if it's still available, if I can get a piece too, but there's this one, and it's called the Pirate. And it's the Snowman Collector Series 9 from Cottage Garden Samplings. And if you haven't seen this series, last year I think it was Woodland Animals, and this year it's Snowmen. And another one was just released, and it's just as cute as it can be. You may want to go take a look at this series. You might find one that you want to stitch up too. And so the big piece I purchased while I was there, I purchased some scissors, and they make their own fobs, so I purchased a fob and another kit, and I made a very small start on it, but I picked up Hawthorne Hill. It's a rosewood manor piece, and it calls for a darker piece of fabric, but I was there with all their beautiful fabrics, so I chose one a good bit lighter. I pulled all the call for threads. The only thing I chose to change was the fabric. My fabric looks more like cocoa, and it's called Laura's. It's from Laura's Fabric, and it says Old and Crusty. So this is the piece of fabric. Isn't it pretty? And there's my really small start. I started it on the way home. I had another, this was a work conference and not a training, and this was in Myrtle Beach. And again, I'm near a cross-stitch shop, so I made sure I had worked my times around so I could drop by for an hour or so and shop. And this is the piece I picked up of fabric along with that pattern. And let me show you the colors. And again, they're all this call for colors. Just a warning, this pattern calls for multiple skeins of the same color. Now this piece, I think, is a 36. Let me see, no, it's a 32. And there are the colors. Aren't they gorgeous? There's so many, I keep dropping them. And I've only gotten into one of the colors, meaning I've only cut one of them. And when I cut them, Let me see if I can find the specific one I cut. I had to comb through it. I don't see it right off the top, so I'm going to show you. So with these, I will just comb them down, find where the threads are folded over, and cut them. Just snip through this here once. And then I'll take my needle and pull out one thread, because I love to stitch with one thread. And even though this is 32, I've found when you have hand-dyed fabrics, it seems like they're actually, once you dye them, they're a little more tight in the weave than they are prior to being dyed. So I don't have a problem stitching with one strand over 2 on 32, and that's what I'm going to do with this one. But I will cut through those strands, use my needle, and pull just one thread from this, and that way they're all together. I love working with them like that, but almost every time there's always a bobbin that I will miss just one like this. I'll miss one, and that will be the one I try to pull the strand through, and it kinks up all the threads, and I have to rake and rake and rake. So if you do it like that, or you've not done it before and you want to give it a try, just make sure you comb through and find all those folds and cut through each one of them, or you're gonna have a bunch or a knotted mess of threads as you pull it off. Don't be me. And what else did I get? I said I brought scissors, so let me show you those. So I got a pair of the Bowen scissors, and they snip really nice. And then I bought this cute little, I love sea turtles, and I bought a sea turtle charm to go on it to remind me of the beach. And again, I'm gonna be going down next week, in 2 weekends, and I'm looking forward to it, and it makes me think of beachy everything when I'm down there with them. And I bought one more thing down there, and that was a Q-snap. I love my Q-snaps. I don't use them as much, but I tell you, on certain things, they're just the perfect thing to use, and mine are getting older. And generally when I use them and when I'm done, I'll take them apart and I will throw them in the dishwasher and wash them, and hoping they'll shrink some. But these here are not springing back anymore. There's not much wrong with these, but on my other 8x8, somehow I must have dropped it or something, but there was a crack in one of the connections, and there's a big piece missing. Although I can still use it, I just need to replace it. I probably had them for minimum 15 years. They're worth every little bit that you pay for them. This is one of the most inexpensive parts of our stitching, are these Q-snaps if you use them. And then on to what I've been working on when I work on something. This was the focus piece I've had for a little over a month now. It's this piece here. And I have changed the colors, as you can see. These are my colors. And I'm getting close, but I haven't gotten as much progress as I was hoping to have. I was actually hoping to have it finished by now. And I put a little piece of thread, tied it on so I would know which way was up, which way was the top. But when you saw me last, I had not quite finished this top corner. I was working on it. It is now finished, and I'm working my way down to this center part here. So hopefully when you see me next, I will at least have gotten and finished up this up to the midway piece here, down, and a little bit further. And then I will definitely be on the home stretch. That will leave less than a quarter of this piece left to do. I think it's turning out beautifully. And again, I apologize for not ironing them. What else do we have? I think that, oh, excuse me just a second. Clint, can you turn that off? That's, I don't know how to pause this, so hold on just a second. what do you call those little things that sweep your floor for you, the little robots? That's what that was. I apologize for that noise and the pause. Thanks for sticking with me. So I did a little bit of junking. I've been doing a lot of junking actually. I just don't have a lot of finds to show you, but I did find a couple of treasures a couple of weeks back, and they made me so happy, and this is one. So you can kind of see the edge. It's an old quilt. I got it for what I think is a steal. It is threadbare in some pieces, but it was hand quilted and hand appliqued. It's gorgeous. Now from afar, you don't really notice the threadbare unless I kind of point it out. You can see here, it's just gonna be a display piece. I brought it home. It had a huge stain on it. I was able to get the majority of it out. Let me see if I can find it. I don't like handling her too roughly. Let's see. You may be able to see here, there was a good bit of staining right here, and it was like a rusty red. It wasn't mold or mildew, it was just a rusty red. Won't this look perfect displayed at Christmas? I know it's baskets, harvest baskets, but I think it's gorgeous. But I brought her home and I soaked her. I have a big garden tub, so I soaked her in the tub, let her, you know, got the water out, wrung the quilt out, got as much water out as I could, being as gentle as I could, and I washed it like that, just with water for a few times, and then used some very, very gentle detergent. But I would just take my hand and gently make circular motions where the staining was, and I'm so happy that it come out. And like I said, I know I washed it at least 3 times with just the water. So she's been washed, I believe it was 5 times, and I think she's just gorgeous. And if you look close, you can see all that hand quilting. And a lot of the threadbare places are in this hand applique, you can see here. But as far as a display piece for Christmas, I think she's absolutely beautiful. And that day was a day for things that were red. The other thing I found that day, or actually I didn't find it, my husband found it, was another toy sewing machine in its own little case. So let me get her out. Let me just show you. So you open it up. Some of you may have seen it or have owned one. And I'm gonna lift up that wooden slat and remove her. And she has a pedal, and the make is Kramer, but isn't it so cute? Now I just need more shelving upstairs so that I can display these things. But this made me so happy. Let me get her back in there. Hold on just a second. There is another piece of wood that was supposed to help hold her, nestle her into the box. And that one is not there, only that top portion. So I have to finagle a little bit to get her in. There you go. She's back in her home. And there she is with her little handle. I need to pull this off. This is from the tag. It doesn't need to be there. So there you go. And one other thing, I picked this up at Goodwill. I was going in because my granddaughter Evie was turning 1 at the beginning of the month. And for several weeks I have been practicing, instead of cross stitching, I have been practicing cake decorating because I have an idea that I want to make, bake, and decorate all the coming birthdays of my grandchildren. And I knew I had seen at previous visits the Wilton cake decorating pans at the Goodwill. And when I went, there were several. There were many more than I thought that were there, but I was able to get one that was in the shape of a flower. So I've practiced on cakes. I've practiced with the cake pans now, the decorator cake pans, as well as cupcakes. I still have a lot more to learn, but as far as being a novice, I was happy with her birthday cake. She had a sunflower. It tasted wonderful. It's a little rough around the edges, but I will get there with time. But while I was there, I found this mirror that I think will work perfectly eventually with maybe a stitch piece, or I can just use it as it is because I love the color of this. I love the, it looks like gold, but with patina. I really like it. So we'll see in the future if I use it for a stitch piece, because you guys will be some of the first ones I share that with. And my birthday month is coming up, and there's a couple of great things going on. Like I said, the first weekend of the month, I will be visiting Barefoot Needlearts for a retreat. And then we're starting a stitch along for October 31st from Cottage Garden Samplings. Several of you have reached out and said that you've gotten the supplies, that you already had the supplies and you're joining in. But we're gonna stitch this starting on the 1st of October, and it is called the hashtag October 31st. And we're partnering with Kenzie of Mudpuppy Stitchery is hosting this along with me and Barefoot Needlearts. Pardon me while I read the description. I don't want to forget anything. So I know that they're offering a 20% off discount if you order on their website, and this is Barefoot Needlearts. I will list them down below. If you want to kit up both the chart and the floss, it's 20% off if you order from their site. On their home page, there is a heading that says Stitch Along for October 31st. If you just click on that, it'll take you to the page with the threads and with the pattern, and you can order it there. Again, we're starting on October 1st, and it will run, as well as their promo code is good through the 31st of October. So you can get it in time to join us on the 1st of October, or you can get it anytime within and still use that promo code with Barefoot Needlearts, get the 20% off, and it's good through the 31st of October. They'll help you if you want to get fabric with them too. If you want to give them a call or reach out to them through email, I'll list all that information below. They said they're happy to help you with any of your needs you want to use to purchase this pattern. That's going on, as well as I'm going to make another new start. And I purchased this piece earlier in the year. I was in love with it. So when I get to the retreat, I'm going to pull the threads, and it's the Catherine Armstrong 1856 by Antique Sampler Reproduction. And I want to give it a start. I already have my fabric, and it's just a cream fabric. I'm excited to give it a start. And this will be my start to commemorate my birthday with myself. And one other thing, if you have stuck with me this long, I'm gonna have a giveaway, and it starts today. And it's gonna run through next weekend. So any comments, or I'm gonna give you, let's ask a question, and let's see. Just give me your birthday month down below. What is your birthday month? And do you make a start in your birthday, for your birthday, during your birthday month? List that below. Anyone, so running through next Saturday, today is the 24th. So running through next Saturday, when I do my next video, that is when I will cut off the entries for the giveaway. You must be 18, you must have a parent's permission if you're not 18 to participate in the giveaway. And what I'm gonna be giving away is the threads, which includes the fancy floss and the DMC for this piece, but not the fabric. So you get the pattern, the DMC, and the fancy floss for the October 31st stitch along. I picked this up while I was at Barefoot Needlearts. And again, I'm gonna have all their information below. If you're interested and you've not picked up your pattern, leave your birth month and whether or not you make a new start for your birthday in the comments down below. Good luck to everyone. And until next time, happy stitching. Bye-bye.